Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy New Year's Eve. I am so glad you're here. As you can see, we've got snow. So we'll have snow for New Year's Eve, if nothing else. So anyways, why does it matter? I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body-mind expert, and I'm a shiatsu massage therapist. And my specialty is helping women who have narcissistic and toxic relationships. And, I got to tell you, the majority of women who end up really struggling with narcissistic, side effects, the women who struggle with that most are the ones whose mothers were narcissists. So when we look at narcissism, we have to look at it from the lens, not that a narcissist is a horrible person, but that they're literally where they are at, not capable of being the person that you need them to be. They're not capable of being the mother that you need to be, and they probably never were. Now, sometimes that narcissism is caused because they're more on the Asperger's scale. And if so, Asperger's, autism, more on kind of that side of the scale, usually scientists, engineers, people who are really smart and spend a lot of time in their head. Now, many times that narcissism is based on a complete inability to be somebody different because it's how they're wired. When someone's more on that side of the spectrum, they are very narcissistic, but it's not narcissistic coming from a place of punishing you or coming from a place of revenge or, emotional angst. Typically, it's coming from a place of when someone is more Asperger's or autism, more in their head, they just don't have the same emotional resources as other people do. Now, there's another kind of, then there's the other narcissism, the narcissism that's more bipolar, borderline personality, PTSD, ADHD, where it's an emotional mental health condition where someone is so consumed by their own inner experience, by their own fears and insecurities, that they behave like really mean, angry, scared, manipulative sorts of people. And when it's a mother, it's a very unique situation because, the majority of narcissists are men. And so when someone starts talking about how a narcissist is a woman, it's very difficult for people to believe them, to believe that a mother could be that underhanded, that unkind, love their child that little. And you end up with something, especially when it's a mother or a father, of something called a trauma bond. And a trauma bond is when you go through traumas with someone, even if they're traumas and experiences created by the narcissist. Even if it's something that the child was completely innocent to, there's this bond that happens because it's a roller coaster. You face this extremely scary, dramatic, vulnerable, crazy, emotional time together, and you make it out to the other side. Many women who, talk of coming from narcissistic mothers, they talk about how, there was this roller coaster of one day they would love you and give you everything that you want and be the nicest person in the world. And then the next day you were, their enemy, you were their villain. So when you have a mother who's a narcissist, you end up with a lot of issues. And a lot of those women end up in my door because they tend to be even more severe than having a man who has issues. Part of the struggle or part of the pain that women have is, in our culture, it's more okay for men to be abusive, emotionally abusive, physically abusive, sexually abusive. It's somehow okay. And so, one of the biggest problems with child abuse is that in the child's mind, what's happening isn't okay. As in, it needs to be a secret. As in, you need to hide it from the world. as in no one can ever know. And when these secrets happen, when we judge ourselves, when we somehow think, okay, a man, yes, they have a heavy hand, dads get angry, dads can be scary, but moms are held to a whole different standard and experience because they're wired differently. And when you have a mother who is emotionally abusive or physically abusive, when you have a mother that's that way, it cuts even deeper because you're like, wait, this is supposed to be the one person in the world. There's songs about this, there's stories about this, how you can always depend upon your mother. She can always be there for you. And when that doesn't happen, it's very, very painful and very confusing. There's a number of different experiences that you need to have that you now need to start looking for yourself. When the first one of the most important steps to healing from a narcissistic mother is realizing that you didn't get what you needed and that it's time that you take responsibility for what you needed, because your narcissist mother just isn't going to be able to give it to you. But that doesn't mean you didn't need those experiences of being held when you're vulnerable, of being heard, of having a feminine energy, of having a woman understand where you're coming from, of having someone present when you need them most. You can end up very frightened and confused when you have a mother as a narcissist, because you then tend to think that your mother maybe was an anomaly. But in reality, there were a lot of mothers that were narcissists and a lot of women who have a lot of issues. And so we tend to walk into feminine relationships thinking, oh, this is going to be different. It's like having a relationship with a healer. You think a healer is going to be somehow more evolved and kinder and nicer. In reality, a healer has a lot of their own issues they're dealing with. A lot of therapists have their own problems that they're dealing with. And it's very difficult for them. And that's true with turn to a female relationship thinking, aha, she's female, she'll fit into this box, she'll fit what I'm looking for. And we don't look for the signs of a narcissist, then you end up being violated again, because you didn't realize that there were a lot of female narcissists out there on different levels of the spectrum, on different levels of narcissism. And if you walk in as without your self-respect, without your self-love, then female narcissists will find you and you'll let them into your life and you won't know how to handle them. Well, it's a great lesson, isn't it? You can go that route, or you can go the route of actively looking for women who demonstrate that they are healthier, that they have a healthier mindset, that they've done some of their work, that they're a little bit more evolved. And you look for women to spend time with that can give you the experiences that you needed to have, because you still need them. You still need those mothering experiences. You're not beyond them, and you can't give them all to yourself. And so you have to start actively looking for the things that you need and respecting yourself enough to find it from women who can give it to you. Now, this can be pretty hard. This can be a lot of work, but it's absolutely worth it. And if you follow your intuition, you will typically find the women who have the ability to give you that hug and that nurturing and that nourishing. They see and they know, and they're able to give it to you because that's just the sort of person that they are. Now, if you're looking for something bigger, then it's good to find other women. Oh, look, there's a turkey in my backyard. Do you see it running across? Them. Oh, what a gift. What a gift. I'm so glad they came hang out this morning. They hang out in my woods. So, magic happens when you start realizing that there are women out there who can give you the love that you need. And there's women out there that are, struggling with their own narcissistic issues. When you recognize that, you actively look for, seek out, make sure they jump through a few hoops, follow your intuition, and find those women who can be there for you. Or, as I said, the other way to go is to actively look for a group of women, a healthy group of women who are doing their own work, actively doing their own work, not just showing up and complaining about it, but actively doing their own work. And but are actively looking for a spiritual path, a higher purpose, a bigger version of themselves. And they're using this, as people have used since the beginning of time, as the catalyst to really get closer to and all there is, to a higher power, to a great spirit, to the highest version of yourself. This experience of having a mother as a narcissist, you landed in this lesson, whether you liked it or not. And lots of women have. And when we come together and love each other and care about each other, that we raise each other up. So I invite you in this new year, if you and a mother is a narcissist, to actively look for getting your needs met. And this is why a lot of women end up finding me, is because I'm one of those people able to, in a healthy way, help you get the love and the care and the nourishing and the nurturing and the wisdom and the advice, the things that you needed from your mother. We look for women and we find women who've done their own work, who can help bring us those experiences, not in a weird, codependent, manipulative sort of way. And it can be different women, different versions that you need, but they can be there for you. And if you trust that they are and you look for them, then you'll find them. One of the places you can find them is this beautiful group that we're doing. It's a narcissist recovery group. It's just for women. I'm encouraging women to sign up for a year. And right now we're doing kind of what's called a rolling launch. We're looking for 40 women who want to be a part of this group. We've been running it for a while and we're ready to expand. And it's filled, oh my gosh, it's filled with smart, funny, interesting women who are dealing with narcissism. And not only, let's say, a romantic narcissist, but a family narcissist, whether it was abuse by, your mother or your father or your sister or your brother or another family member, a grandparent, or an uncle or an aunt. It's filled with women who are right where you are, who've had many narcissists in their life, and they have the ability and the desire to be there for one another, and the ability and the desire to work through these things that having a narcissist mother really brought up for you. So if you're dealing with that, the smartest thing you can do is love them for who you are, because they're your mother, and do what you need to do to be as healthy, balanced, in a good space, feeling good, healing yourself with an amazing support system. That's what you need to get in order to really move forward, because you're not going to move forward until you get those experiences that you need of nourishment and nurturing and love. Therapy isn't enough. The therapist is a whole different relationship. The therapist is a professional helping you heal because you're broken. But this is different. This isn't because you're broken. This is because you're whole and you're finding your wholeness. You're uncovering the highest version of who you are. And you're doing it through what you're supposed to be doing it through, a community of loving human beings. One of my favorite places in the world is a place called the King Spa. And at the King Spa, it's separated into a co-ed where you wear little pajama thingies, and it's separated into the women's area and the men's area. In the women's area, all the water areas are naked. There's no clothing, swimsuits, no nothing. So I went on Sunday with my sister, and this place was packed with women of all ages and sizes and colors and shapes and personalities. But the theme was that you could feel as you walked in how comfortable all of these women were with themselves. They were naked, they were lounging around, talking to each other like Roman baths. It's a crazy, beautiful, amazing experience. You can actually feel the energy raise. If you haven't had positive, good, meaningful, feminine energy in your life, you need to have it, because it's a whole different way of looking at the world, and it touches a whole different part of your soul you didn't even know was crying out, and that we would look for from the people who weren't able to give it to us. You can find women that are capable, and the experience is amazing. So if this is what you're looking for to heal, to move forward, whether no matter who the narcissist was. Consider reaching out. Let me know. I'll send you a link to the page. It's mostly done. I need to polish it and soften a little bit, but it's done enough that you can join us. I'm giving an amazing price for the year so that we can get our 40 women, and then it's going to change because we want to keep it small. We want to keep it intimate. We don't want it to get too big. And so I invite you to reach out and join us, because I can tell you, you don't have to live in the angst and the conflict and the emotional drama that you're living in now. You don't have to. And the way out is to find women who've been there, who are doing it, a community. That's what you need more than anything. And I'd love for you to join us. So reach out, let me know. I'll send you the link to the sales page, and consider making 2020 the best year you've ever had, because you're finally getting what you've always needed, which is love, acceptance, understanding, affection, and some guidelines, and learning how to respect yourself, others, and connected with something bigger than you. Okay? So have a wonderful New Year's Eve. I have a busy day ahead of me. I have to go. And I'll talk to you later, okay? Bye.